Coming up, obviously, it's a big weekend for races coming up this weekend. Everybody on Wednesday nights at 10 o'clock, you can watch on Showtime the Inside NASCAR show that's on each and every week there. And one of the hosts joins us right now. He is Kyle Petty, who joins us here on Open Mic on 740 The Game. Kyle, thanks for the time. How are you doing this morning?
Doing great. How about you guys?
We're doing great, Kyle. Kyle, before we get started on racing, tell everybody such a cool idea that you have, the Kyle Petty charity ride across America concept.
Yeah, we've done. I think this is our 17th year.
Yeah, you've done it a long time.
Yeah, and
how can people get involved with that?
We've gone from California to the East Coast. This year we're going from north to south. We're going from up north down to towards Florida a little bit. But it's just fun. You know, we started going to children's hospitals, then we built the Camp Victory Junction in North Carolina, and the charity ride has been such a huge part of that, and really maintained that and kept it up and running. I think we've raised about $14 million in 15 or 16 years doing it.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's been a lot of fun, and you get to ride motorcycles, which makes it more fun.
That's even more fun. Kyle, a lot being made, obviously, of Dale Earnhardt Jr. winning the pole at Daytona on the 10-year anniversary of his father's death. Such high expectations of Jr. after his dad died. As a guy who also drove a race car and followed a legendary racing father, how tough do you think it's been for Dale over the years, Dale Jr.?
Oh, it's been extremely tough on Dale Jr. Because this is more of a media age. You know, there's so many more eyes, so many more writers, so many more fans, so much more. The expectations on him were so great, and he paid no attention to it, and he went out and he won races. Now all of a sudden the pressure's there, and I think he feels it. And there's a lot of pressure on him, and he feels that a little bit. But you know, I think he's done a great job. I think he does a great job of maintaining it and just being Dale Jr. and not trying to be Dale Earnhardt Sr.
Kyle, I remember when you were racing, you were the same way. I mean, you were your own man. You had your own opinions. You were obviously very outspoken on a lot of issues, which is probably why you're a commentator today. But how do you deal with the fact that people say, hey, that's Richard Petty's son. He should be as great as his dad. How do you deal with that?
You don't pay any attention to it, you know, because the funny part is most of the people that are saying that are not like their parents. They're not like their mother. They're not like their father. They've gone off in different directions. So if they can go off in different directions, why can't you? You know what I mean? So you really got to get your head wrapped around it and find a good place to be in your own head around about it, because you can't let somebody else and you know, that's the whole deal. You can't let somebody else project their expectations onto you. You know what I mean? You have to be your own person.
Kyle, also, obviously, it's a huge deal at Daytona this week, the 10-year anniversary of Dale Earnhardt's death. But, you know, I know this is a tough subject for you. It's also, you know, your 19-year-old son, Adam, died even before Dale Earnhardt Jr. Obviously, those are two tragedies that happened in racing. But when you look back on that and what happened in the aftermath and the safety precautions that came into being because of that, some good came from those deaths, did it not?
Oh, yeah, definitely so. You know, I think if you look at soft walls and you look at Hans collars and you look at some of the seat innovations and some of the stuff that's come into the interior of the sport and the safety for the drivers of the sport in the last 10 years, yeah. You know, you got to go back and you got to look at Adam's death and Tony Roper's and you know, Kenny Irwin and Dale Sr. You got to look at the accidents that happened, and you got to say, yeah, it changed the sport. It changed the direction of the sport. You know, and I think it's put NASCAR on a proactive path more so than a reactive path. And the proactive part being that they are absolutely ahead of the curve on safety and stuff now. Before they were behind. Kyle,
with all the talk about Dale this week, I mean, obviously, I'm sure you think back this week of Adam. What are your thoughts and memories when you think back?
Yeah, you know, just a good guy, great race car driver, but just a good guy. Everybody else, you guys think of him as just being, you know, a race car driver. Mm-hmm. But when you're around a guy like that all the time, he's just a good guy. And that's the funny part. When I was listening to Dale Jarrett tell some stories, and some of those guys, and the stories that we tell and the drivers tell are not about the racing Dale Earnhardt. It's about the guy, they went hunting with, or they went fishing with, or they went to dinner with, or something happened. It's a totally different story. So he was just a good guy to us.
Also, Kyle, you're a commentator now inside NASCAR Showtime every Wednesday night at 10 o'clock. Explain to us non-gearheads how the new pavement has affected the driving at Daytona and why the cars were going so fast early and what NASCAR has done to slow them down, and will it work?
Yeah, well, the pavement just smoothed the racetrack, and that's all it does. Just like if they pave your highway or they pave your driveway, it doesn't make any difference. It just smoothed a lot of the bumps out of the racetrack, which allowed the cars to handle a little bit better. So handling, it took a little bit of the handling issue away from it. What they've done is, what the teams did was worked really hard on running in a draft and getting their cars where they would cool a lot better, and they've got them where they would cool so great that they could run nose to tail, and 2 cars are a lot faster than 3 cars. Always have been. So what NASCAR's done is they've changed the rules to allow like it's in simplistic terms, it's like they put a radiator cap on a car. The cars had a closed water system where they would get hot, but the water wouldn't leave the system. Now
Gotcha.
They're going to put a radiator cap on, so if the car's overheat, it's going to pop off just like it would on you on the side of the highway. So it'll keep those cars from running nose to tail and overheating, and it'll spread them out a little bit so that they have to race with everybody, not just 2 cars.
Kyle, real quick, and I've always wanted to ask somebody inside the sport this, all right? Somebody wrote a column yesterday, I think it was, when they were talking about Dale Jr.'s on the pole, NASCAR's scripting this race for Dale Jr. to win the Daytona 500. That couldn't happen, could it?
No, there's too many variables. You got 42 other drivers, and so many different teams, so many mechanical parts, so much that goes on. Yeah, that's that guy's still sitting on the grassy knoll waiting on the Kennedy assassination.
Plus, wouldn't that, if that were ever found out, that would ruin the credibility of the sport. I mean, you couldn't have that.
Yeah, but you're not just talking about 2 or 3 conspirators. You would have to have thousands of conspirators to all agree that that's what was going to happen, and that's never going to happen.
Kyle, real quick, everybody talks about the ratings are down, the attendance is down. What does NASCAR have to do to save itself? Are we overreacting, or does something need to be done?
Oh, yeah. I think you're overreacting. We were at Bristol last year, and it was the first time it hadn't sold out, and everybody was singing the gloom and doom of the sport. And I said, you're right. Only 140,000 people showed up today. What's your point? There's still people tuning in. There's still hundreds of thousands of people that follow the sport, hundreds of thousands of people that come every week. Just because there's not 300,000, there's only 240,000. 240,000 is a pretty good chunk of people. You know what I mean? And when you look at it, and I just think right now with the economy the way it is, and with the world the way it is, that people are looking in different areas and doing different things, and we've kind of found a level, and maybe this is the level. Maybe we outgrew where we were at, and we've found our level on where we need to be right now. And it'll come back at some point in time, and we'll figure it out.
He is Kyle Petty, former NASCAR driver and one of the co-hosts of Inside NASCAR every Wednesday night, 10 o'clock on Showtime. Kyle, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.